Welcome to part 3 of post-run cool-down yoga for runners. This session focuses on the knees and ankles. Runners typically, over periods of time, maybe create compression in the knee joint, or maybe it's the alignment of the feet that cause the problem. But regardless, yoga can really help to realign the knees and create healthy, mobile, and strengthened joints. So we're looking at both the ankles and the knees in this session. You may need a towel. If you have a towel that you bring with you to the gym, or one that you maybe carry with you when you go running. I don't know many people that do that anymore, but in the 70s, guys used to run around with towels around their necks. You can use a small towel. You're just gonna have to double fold it so that the thickness of it is going to be the size of your own fist, not my fist, because my fist is tiny, your fist. I'm gonna be using a yoga blanket. This can also, of course, be used. So if you're using a thick yoga blanket, you're gonna have to unfold it almost completely. So here, see, it's in the long version, and then we're gonna roll it up. So this is a little bit of a spaghetti project. So we start to roll. And so in the end, if I squeeze it, it's about the thickness of my own fist. Of course, if you have a bigger fist, then take that thickness. So we're gonna be doing a version of Virasana, and this is to create a little bit more of a gap in the knee joint. The knee joint gets compressed with time with all of this impact that we get from the running. So this helps to just open up the knee and flood the meniscus with new fluid and circulation. Cartilage, as you know, does not have much circulation. So this really helps to get some circulation into the cartilage. So what I usually do is come kneeling on the floor, and you want to get this right behind your knee joint. So you're going to bring the blanket or the towel. If you have a towel, you may just be doing one side and then the other side separately. And then getting it really right in behind your knee joint and then kind of clamping down on both sides. And you want to sit back. So if you don't feel like you got it deep enough in there, one thing you could do is like just put your head down and really get it good in there. Now, the pain you feel right now is probably coming from your calf. I have several tattoos on my body. My calf tattoo is by far the most painful tattoo. So you do have a lot of nerve endings back there. Don't worry if you feel pain. The pain that you feel is not gonna last. It's gonna be gone as soon as you come out of the pose. So you can be leaning forward. If it's really too much pain, there's another version that we'll be doing in a moment. You want to try to stay here for 1 to 2 to 3, 4 or 5 minutes. You can build it up. Maybe at first just stay 1 minute, and then after time stay up to 5 minutes. And you may find that the feeling of pain goes away over time. So we just sit, and some people also have problems in their ankles when sitting in this position. If that's you, you may need a lot more props, unfortunately, but you can take the back end of, if you have a long blanket, and stick that underneath your ankle. So it just lifts up your ankle, and it just gives your ankle a little bit more space, so it's not so flat. And the knee joint, I do know quite a few runners who really can't completely close the knee joint. I do believe that this is just a particular anatomy that they might have, but the knees healthy knees should fold completely in Japanese style sitting. You should be able to sit completely back. Sometimes if you have really large calves or really large hamstrings, that can really get in the way, but it's a good thing to try to sit like this on a regular basis with or without a blanket. So you could even do this pose with no blanket, no towel, and it's very beneficial for the knee. And you may have noticed by now that the pain started to subside, hopefully a little bit, and then we can come out. So I think that was about a 2-minute stay. You can work up to longer periods of time. So sitting like this, I find really important for people to be able to sit like this. I used to not be able to sit like this. My ankles hurt way too much. I'm a soccer player since I was 9, and I've just always had really tight ankles. So it took me a long time, but I have completely changed my ankles. My ankles are much more flexible than they ever were before. And it's just from sitting like this. So you can start sitting like this, try a minute, try to build up over time. If you love meditation, trying to meditate here is a good option. But we're going to do a stretch for tendinitis or tendinosis of the shins, otherwise known as shin splints. So you want to come into this pose, but you want to bring your ankles together. So instead of the ankles splaying out to the sides, as they tend to do in this pose, you're just going to bring your ankles together and try to get it so that you're actually sitting with your butt, which is, I know, not very lovely. You get to look at my butt, but you want to spread your butt over your ankles. So you want your heels in between your sits bones. The toes can even turn a little bit out here. If you're a runner, you might really feel this in your shins. And again, staying for 2 to 3 minutes is a good idea. Sometimes it starts, of course, like this, where you have to just be leaning forward. Okay, so you can stay longer in the pose. I'm just doing this for demonstration's sake. So the next one we're going to be doing is a stretch again for the shins. You're going to maybe need blocks. You may need, if you don't have blocks, you can try to use kettlebells at the gym or a bench. If you're running outside in the park, grab a bench and then put your hands on a bench. So we're going to come up and start with the right foot. So the right foot and the right toes are facing right now completely forward, but we're going to be angling the foot out to the side like this, and then we're going to come down into the stretch. And if you're a runner, you're going to feel this. You're going to feel it right here, maybe a little bit on the outside of the ankle. And like I said, if you can't get your hands down this low, totally normal. I'm a very flexible person. You can put your hands on a bench, and that would work out as well. What you should try not to do, try not to let your hips go off to the right side. You want to try to keep your hips a little bit in the middle and then sit back. You can slowly work your foot more back and more back so you can get even more stretch right on that shin. So you do want to stay up to a minute, maybe longer. Great. And one last one, super important, is to stretch out the back of your ankle, your Achilles heel. If you have a block or even the edge, if you're in the gym, maybe a stair. If you're outside, maybe on the edge of the sidewalk, and you're going to be putting your foot up on the block, maybe leaning forward if you need to, or just kind of walking forward if it's possible to walk forward. You really want to keep the back of your ankle stretched out. Ankle stiffness in research, they found in medical research, is positively related to ankle injury and falling. So if you're somebody who does sports, of course, you know you can twist your ankle occasionally, but you're far more likely to twist your ankle if your ankles are already really tight. Okay, so we're going to come off that one. Last one we're going to be doing, also for the back of the ankle. You're going to come down into a squat. This is called Yogi Squat Malasana, goddess pose. Some people really suffer in this position. Tips I will give you, if your knees are together and they don't seem to want to go apart, you need to get them apart. So you need to push them apart with your hands so that your knees go out to the sides. You're also going to check your feet. If your feet have a tendency to roll inside, that's because there's some part of your ankle that's tighter than the other. Try to pick up your foot and create an arch in the foot. So you do want to see the arch of the bottom of the foot. It's easier to see when your shoes are off, but just try a little bit to lean towards the outer edge of your foot rather than the inside. And then you can walk your hands forward if possible. Let your head drop. I have to avoid my microphone. Also a great pose if you experience lower back compression to relieve that post-run. Okay, so again, try to stay in all of these poses 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes each. Even on days that you're not running, I definitely recommend taking a minute to stretch out your ankles, your calves. It'll help to improve the longevity of you as a runner. And see you next time. Thank you very much.